Welcome to my channel, Fifi Creates. I'm Felicia. Let's create something together. It has now become apparent that it is possible to overdo it in the Dollar Tree. That wasn't always the case. 20 bucks, 30 bucks, fine. But we have now hit the $60 mark. No. All right, guys. So not all $60 was spent on this project, but a good decent amount. So while I was down in the plus aisle in Dollar Tree, I came across some of these items here for making tumblers. So I saw some nice glitter, got a nice little mix to it. There was resin, part A and part B. So we're going to try this today as well. Then they have this small 20-ounce traveler mug. This, I'm not sure if it was a bargain or not. This was $5. I'm not sure if I can get this cheaper elsewhere. You might be able to, but we've got this. I grabbed some mixing cups from the Dollar Tree as well. You probably already have some mixing cups if you've used resin before, but if not, they have them too. They also have, like popsicle sticks and things like that to stir them with. I already had that. I really don't want to keep buying too many duplicate things. So there's this. A quick sanding sponge. This one has medium and fine grit. You may want to get some other sanding bands as well for some more detailed, but this one has the different sizes there, and I found this one in the hardware aisle. But this is what I was most curious about. So this is a tumbler spinner, and this is battery operated for $5. So we're going to go ahead and open this up, and we are going to see just how well this works. I can't imagine it being too bad or anything of that nature, but this is what I was most curious to test out. Let me show you what we're starting with. So I did sand this tumbler down using the fine side of that sanding block. I also gave it one coat of spray paint using this spray paint from Michael's named Brownie Points from Color Shot. I did also tape off the bottom of my tumbler using electrical tape also found at the Dollar Tree. Over here on the side, I have some Aleens Tack It over and over, mixed in with some water. Because what I want to do is want to take some holographic brown glitter that I have, and I want to have it just one even coat on here and have it all nice and smoothed out. I'll show you what I mean when it's all done. So I'm going to take this foam out because it's easier to paint without it. So I'm going to take my Aleens over and over again. I don't need to be soaking wet. I'm just going to go ahead and paint on here. And again, I'm leaving this tape on here to be just easier to remove later. And I'm just going to give it a nice smooth coat. As you can see, I put way too much glue over here on the side because it does not need this much. And what's going to happen is this glue, that lip is annoying, okay, is going to dry clear, but it's going to remain tacky for a short amount of time so that we can apply our glitter, and we're going to varnish the glitter into on the tumbler, excuse me. I'm trying to paint and talk at the same time, which is possible, I'm sure. And that's gonna then, we're gonna varnish it and it's gonna lay down the glitter, kind of lay them down side by side so that we'll just have the holographic glitter. And it's just a beautiful way to do it when you're dealing with holographic glitter. So I'm going to go ahead and paint this. It's gonna have some strokes on it, but I'm not too worried about it since this is gonna be like a peekaboo kind of situation in some spots. So not too concerned. So I have it all covered up here. When it turns clear, I'll come back and I'll show you the next step. Okay, so it's been about 30 minutes and it has now dried to a clear. Well, not everywhere, but we will carry on. And it is still tacky to the touch, right? So what I want to do is going ahead and put my glitter on. Now, I couldn't even begin to try to post where I found this glitter. This came in like a little set from like Amazon for nail art a long time ago. But it is this brown holographic glitter. Not sure if you can see the holographic, but I don't have a lot of this. I really don't think I have enough. This was one of those, I'm pretty sure I have it kind of moments, only to find out, no, I really didn't have it. So I'm going to try to see if I can get this to be enough. So I do have my paper down here to kind of collect what I can, put it back. If not, we'll just cover the rest with this regular brown glitter, extra fine from Recollections. This is from Michael's and it's in the shade Chestnut. So I'm going to try to cover as much as I can using this glitter. Whatever I can, we'll just use this. And again, it's going to be in more of a peekaboo fashion. So I know my design is going to kind of angle up this way. So I'm going to focus there first and then fill in what I can. So let's go ahead and start here. And I'm trying to do this as much over the paper as possible so I can keep putting it back into the container as I'm using it. And just keep doing it. So again, I know my main design is going to be kind of here angled up. So I'm going to focus this glitter that I really want it to be the main part of the peekaboo here. And like I said, I'll just kind of fill it in with the rest, the other glitter in the other areas, because this is not enough. So I'm going to kind of varnish this down because I can get more of that glitter off. And you see how that just kind of makes the holographic shine through. See that? So I'm gonna put this glitter back in here. See how much I can get this covered with this first. All right. I even got something to spare. Look at that. All right, so I'm gonna let this sit for a little bit. I am then going to prep it for a coat of resin before I go on to my next step. Now keep in mind, I'm not going to go into too many details in regards to how to do an epoxy tumbler, since I do think that tumblers have been done, redone, overdone. It's there's a lot of great videos out there that you can follow along with, you know, in regards to creating one for yourself. I'm just really kind of focusing on, you know, some items that came from the Dollar Tree and just showing you, you know, I needed a new cup and how I did it. So let me get our Turner set up, because I just opened the box and there are assembly included that we need to do on that. And we'll get some epoxy mixed up, and we're going to put our first very light layer on here. All right, so before I have to mask up and glove up to mix resin, I'm just going to come and talk about the Turner. So this is the Dollar Tree Turner. It is plastic. It takes 4 AA batteries. There was assembly required, which was a matter of putting some screws in the bottom. Some parts of the instructions didn't make all that sense because there was like a hole missing, but it still feels pretty good. So this is the foam arm. I would suggest using getting different foam pieces depending, because this fits a very specific size tumbler. It does not fit, I would say, the bigger ones. It'll fit this one, but it doesn't, it's not a whole lot of give to this, right? So it's not going to squeeze in a smaller cup. I'm going to turn it on for you really quickly so you can see. It is silent. It's very quiet. I have the window open since I'm getting ready to pour epoxy, but other than that, it is quiet. There is no reverse, so it just goes one way. I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to take the tumbler that, again, I got from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to squeeze that on there for you so you can kind of see, and this is me pushing pretty hard. The base doesn't seem to be too heavy, so I wouldn't try to tip this too much. But for what I need it for, this looks like it'll work. So I'm gonna do my best to get as much of this in shot as possible. But again, I'm gonna go ahead and mix my epoxy. The rest of it I'll probably do either in fast motion, because I will be wearing gloves and a respirator, you know, and other PPE equipment just to kind of keep myself safe, because it's epoxy. And it does have chemicals that come from it after mixing it. So I'm going to do that. And then we'll come back after the first layer has fully cured. All right, guys. So here we are the next day. This is what we have so far. So a couple of notes in regards to the resin from Dollar Tree. It does have an odor, right? It definitely has an odor, so you do want to be mindful of that when you are doing that indoors, as you do want to make sure that that is well ventilated. Clearly, I did not use enough resin on this because it did pull away from the edges. I'm not sure if you can see that, which is fine because of what I'm going to do, but just keep that in mind as well. So I did mix 30 milliliters of resin. I did not use all of it. I want to say maybe about half. And half of it I just kind of popped into a mold that I had nearby, because I did not want this to be too thick, as this was just to kind of cover up that glitter and keep it in place, right? So what I'm going to do is go ahead and clean this up a little bit. I've been kind of handling it a bit, so it's got my fingerprints all over it. But I'm going to go ahead and re-tape up the bottom. And then we are going to apply a kind of special paint on this to make a crackle effect, right? So we're going to go ahead, clean this up a little bit. I'm not going to, again, worry about sanding it down too much because this is pretty much smooth because of the way we applied the glitter. But I am going to try to remove some of these fingerprints. I will also make another note in regards to that glitter that I'm a little concerned in terms of what that top coat will look like, because I don't think this is extremely bright and shiny. So keep that in mind. We're going to use it as long as I have enough, but I don't know if it's going to be as shiny and bright as some other resins that we may use as top coats for our tumblers, because this one looks like you can't really see it, but it looks like it had a bit of a reaction. And it could have been, you know, with the Tack, I'm not sure. Again, just not being enough, because I didn't spray this down or anything like that with alcohol. But I can see up close that there is sort of like a reaction. It's not as shiny and clear and straightforward. So again, I'm going to clean this up a little bit, get my fingerprints off of it, re-tape the bottom, and then I'm going to show you what we're going to do next. Okay, so I have gone ahead and taped off the bottom of our tumbler. What I want to do now is I want to apply my vinyl where I'm going to have my peekaboo. So I've decided to do like a leopard print peekaboo. So I do have some spots that I cut on my Cricut using removable vinyl. All right, I'm going to go on ahead and apply these in random spots up the tumbler. So probably kind of wrapped around the tumbler going up. Okay. And then I do also have this as a saying that I want to black out as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Again, I'm not going to go into too many details because there are plenty of videos available in regards to peekaboos and applying these the vinyl for peekaboo onto tumblers. So I'm just going to kind of speed through it. I'll still show you, but I'm going to speed through. Okay, so we made sure that that was nice and sealed. We don't want any of our Crackle medium to get under some of these spots. Although with leopard, I don't think it's gonna hurt all that much. So here's what we're gonna use. I'm using this Folk Art Crackle medium. Okay, so I put some of this on a plate here, and I'm just gonna use a brush to apply it. Okay, so we're gonna put this all over. Oops, sorry guys. Try not to work this too much and go in one direction when you and I'm just going to go up and down, because I do believe that that also controls where your crackles are going to be. So again, we're gonna put this all over. Okay, excellent. It doesn't take much. So we're gonna leave this to dry, and then we're gonna come back and then I'm gonna show you the next step and how we're gonna get that crackle pattern. All right, guys, so here we are about an hour later, and this is now dry to the touch. All right. So again, we have all of our temporary vinyl. And again, I use the non-permanent so it'll be easier to take up when it's all said and done. And then I do have my little emblem here. And we're going to paint right on top of this. Now we're going to paint using a regular acrylic paint. Normally it's advised to use the same brand of paint that came up with the Crackle. But this is just the one that I happen to have, and the color I wanted wasn't available in folk art. So we're going to use this today. And I'm going to shake it up here and put some here on the plate. So what we want to do is we want to paint this with as little manipulation of the paint as possible, right? So we want to load up our brush and just kind of do a stroke and then leave it. And that creates, better crackle, because if we mess with it too much, it gets messed up and it's not exactly the look that we're going for. So let's go ahead. We're going to load up our brush here. I'm just going to go and try to not go over the same areas more than once, right? Go ahead and put it on and try to not go over, and I'm doing a horrible job of this at this moment, but I'll go ahead and put it on in even strokes and move on, right? All right, so I wanted to kind of bring in a little bit and kind of show you what we're looking at so far. This is not fully dry yet, but I do want to see how many of these I can get off without damaging the cup. I did go on ahead and take one of the ones that was kind of sticking up off of the top there, because that was just there for the taking. So I did kind of grab that one. So I'm going to see what we can get off of here. And, oh, God, I keep touching it. Try not to damage the crackle effect. But not as much of that brown glitter is showing through, which is why I wanted more peekaboo so I can actually see that glitter. But I do like how this is turning out. So I'm going to probably speed through this part because this is kind of tedious, where I'm just going to be using a picker or my X-Acto to try to get those off as cleanly as possible. So again, we use removable vinyl, so that shouldn't be too difficult, but it might still take a little bit of effort. Okay, let's talk about this. So I will say that this crackle was a little bit more difficult to peel, the peekaboos than I'm used to having, right? Because of the crackle, the paint wants to try to come up in whole sheets. So even the more dry spots versus the kind of wet areas, it still wanted to come up. Again, it doesn't matter too much for this particular design because of the vinyl overlay that I'm going to put on it. It's going to look as organic as leopard print should, right? I'm still going to have to come in here and touch some of these spots up because I didn't want it to be all the brown glitter for that background. So I'm going to go ahead and let this sit a little longer to make sure that all of that acrylic paint is dry. I am going to again come back in here because I can kind of see where it was, so I can try to touch that up as well. And then we're going to then prep this for another coat of resin, right? So in that initial coat of resin, and you'll kind of see bits and pieces of it, I'm going to, again, take my edge back up, put a nice coat of resin, and then in a couple of separate cups, I'm going to mix some resin in with this hexagon glitter. This came in the Dollar Tree set. So I'm going to use some of this like on some of these areas here. I don't want it to be all over because this is a lot already. So again, I'm just going to put a little bit of this in with a separate resin, and you'll see that as well. I'm also going to put in some gold flakes. I'm going to attach a video because this was also available at Dollar Tree. I just didn't buy that version because I already have plenty of this stuff here. But it is available at Dollar Tree to use as well. So again, I'm going to put a little bit of this here or there. I'm going to mix a little bit of this in with some resin so it's not too chunky. And then we're going to coat this all. Again, I'm going to go in fast motion because I am going to be, with my face mask on so that, we can be safe. And when we come back, I'm going to have one coat of resin on here so that we can then go ahead and put our vinyl pieces. And I will show you what that looks like when we get there. All right, so here we are the next day. What I did is I went on ahead and I did kind of knock down some of the high points and start sanding them down a little bit so that it's easier to put on my final coats. I will go ahead and sand down just a little bit more and sand down further on the rim to kind of expose a slight thin bead of stainless steel so that our epoxy has something to attach to and finish off the cup. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put on our final vinyl. I'm going to kind of do this off to the side because I do want to try to, get them around and lined up as much as best as possible. I'm going to do that. I will come back, and this is the textured vinyl from Cricut. I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like before we start putting on our final coats of epoxy. Okay, so we've got our vinyl down, and I'm going to put on 2 coats, top coat here for resin. I'm going to say this cup is a little bit more it's busier than I'm used to making for myself, because I don't normally put all the extra glitter and all that other stuff. So this is a bit much, but I still like it. Although this was my test piece, my matching keychain, and I just like the simplicity of it. But this is still very pretty when the sun hits it and you see all the holographic glitter and everything else. So again, I'm gonna go ahead and put 2 coats of resin on top of this and finish it off. Again, I'm not going to show that part because I'm just going to kind of do it off camera, but when I come back, we'll show you the final results. Okay, guys, so look at that. I just wanted to kind of bring it in here so you can kind of see the shine on the resin. It is cured. This is about what? 6 to 7 hours, excuse me, from when I put the first coat on. And I'm actually surprised at how shiny she is. But I just wanted to give you guys a final look at the tumbler. I will go ahead and again post some close-up shots of it, but I love the color combination. I think I'll probably try another one with a similar color. It is again a little busy for me, but I think that's why I like it. It's a little different than the cups I normally make, and I just absolutely love how this turned out. So I want you guys to go out, get yourself a Turner from the Dollar Tree, which is still going on the first set of batteries that we put in there, which is working awesome. Get yourself some resin and have at it. I definitely would suggest maybe investing in a little bit more of an expensive resin that maybe has UV protectant in it, as this pink is not going to be pink in a couple of years. It's going to probably be just as brown as the rest of it. But to start off, this is excellent. And I do know that it works well in molds as well. So it's not a bad resin. It's just, again, if you're willing to try to, sell these items, or if you expect them to stand the test of time, maybe not the Dollar Tree resin, but it's still not a bad one. And I still actually have some resin left over, so that resin that I bought was enough to do this and maybe one other simple tumbler if I tried to do so. So again, I'm going to give you guys some close-up shots and have a great day. Thanks. Bye.